Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that keeps you in the know with what you need to know in business and technology and for yourself so you can grow. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Rob House, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers, got insight for miles and miles. We'll give you what you need to know. Get ready for the Business Empowerment Podcast. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast. I'm excited to be here. I'm always excited to be here. I'm excited to wake up. Let me just be honest about what happens in life for me. Okay, when I wake up, I'm excited. Like the first breath, because somebody said your gratitude determines your attitude, which ultimately determines your altitude. Good gracious. So I'm going high. And my goal is to take everybody with me. I think that's the goal of life. Come here. Honestly, I believe the goal is to create and co-create. Come love yourself, love others. Find out how you can better yourself and then how you can better others. However you categorize it, find a way to give back. So this show is about doing that. And we do that by interviewing and sitting down and conversating with some of the most brilliant minds that we could find. And I have one today, folks, Mr. Gary Frey. He is somebody who's not only been successful himself in life and in business, but he's decided to reach back. What we were just talking about. It's the reach back. I think I'm going to write a song called Reach Back. It's the reach back. Oh, it's the reach back. Oh, because honestly, we can start singing and stuff, and then it's weird. You ever start singing something like, why am I singing this? Because songs have power. So let's start singing songs with real lyrics. So Gary, when you get a chance to hear his story, what he's doing, if you have questions, ask. The way to get the best answers is to ask the best questions. And the only dumb question is the one that is not asked. So when we come back, by the way, my partner Wilton, he is currently moving. My co-host, he's currently moving. Our company is growing, and he's actually in the middle of trying to set his internet up. So I said, I got it today, man. Don't get stressed out. I don't want you trying to do the show, get more gray hairs. I got this today. So he'll be checking the replay. And when I come back, we're going to talk to Gary Frey about how he saves the day. Business burnout can be so overwhelming. So many things to do and not enough time to do them. Deadlines to meet with time ticking away quickly. Multiple repetitive tasks that must be completed every single day. What if you could cut that list in half? What if you could automate 50, 60, 70% of what you do every day? You would have less stress. You could get more done in less time. And your company would make more money. Less stress and more money? See how RPA can change your day. Wow. Okay. So interesting. All right. So that's RPA. That's what we do. Help businesses relieve the stress from the person by just understanding a couple things, right? Gaining understanding. That's like a big deal. Yeah, you don't just come in and start automating everything. First, you start to gain an understanding. And once you get the understanding, now you can start operating very efficiently. And this is what Gary Frey does. He helps people get into alignment so they don't look like the guy on the right side of the screen. Gary, am I right? Are you helping people not look like that guy who was on the right? It was
I would hope so. If we're not, we're failing. And hey, Wilton, if you're listening to this while you're moving, I got enough gray hair for both of us. So you just don't sweat it, man. You just move.
Hey, look, I've been literally inviting and welcoming all the grays. Because once I read that the grays meant wisdom, I said, bring it. Okay, I'll take it. Gary Frey, welcome to the show.
So first of all, My last name is actually pronounced Frey, but I think I'm going to change the pronunciation to Frey because you already had some lyric in there that was so cool that I'm thinking we're going to just officially go to the telemarketer's version of my last name, which is Frey. That's how I always know if it's a telemarketer. So that's why I started TGIF. Totally grateful. It's Frey, F-R-E-Y.
I like that. I like
that. So, anyway.
Thank you for correcting me and not letting me say that ever again.
It's okay. I've had friends that have called me that for years. And then after so many years, I'm like, I can't even correct them. You know?
Well, Gary,
it's okay, man.
I cannot lie. Yeah, I'm glad you are here today.
There you go, man. You are gifted. You, by the way, you have the coolest onboarding, like the preamble on your podcast. We got to up the ante on our Anything But Typical podcast because we don't even have anything like that. So, like you set the bar already too high, man. So it's good.
I appreciate that. That's good feedback, man. That's good feedback. You know, and talking about bars. So you love helping CEOs like raise that bar, you help teams save money, make money, stay out of trouble. So that's what you say on LinkedIn. I love the way you put that too. Helping CEOs and teams save money, make money, stay out of trouble, and have fun. I mean, if you could kind of put everything in one breath, that would be what I would try to accomplish.
That is what we do, man, and that's what I love to do. Before I joined the CPA firm, that it was their 3 uniques. If you follow the book Traction, or if they have the 3 uniques. If you are a student of Verna Harnish's Scaling Up and Mastering the Rockefeller Habits, he talks about your superpowers, if you will, your brand promise. And it was save money, make money, stay out of trouble. And then I brought in, like, it has to be fun too. And we are a pretty fun group. 11 of the 70 plus of us have either started, run, or turned around companies with our own money, which is really unusual for a CPA firm, which is the only reason that I'm at a CPA firm, because I'm not a CPA and I'm not a CFO. You would not want me to be that, but I am good at helping and running companies, but also helping others get it to where it is more fun again. And it's not because you put a foosball table in the break room. Has nothing to do with
that. Although the foosball table, I'm sure, is a good additive. It's probably some core things that have to do with the people. Probably some core elements.
You're right.
Yeah. We're going to get there. We're going to get there because this is what you've unpacked and helped unpack for people. But to kind of go back to the genesis of why you were doing this in the first place.
Man, well, I would say, my whole career journey has been, I planned and God laughed. I mean, literally. And I don't say that to be flippant about it or anything, but I was a graphic designer. And my first turnaround at age 28, which I had no business doing, I did not have one credential that would validate why I was asked to do this, but my first turnaround was an integrated marketing firm, high-end design, good advertising, PR. And there wasn't even that term integrated marketing yet. This is in like 1990, 1991. So I was brought in to do it, and we actually did turn it with some, I think, bonehead common sense things. But my partner was 20 years older than me. And I was given an opportunity to do that, and equity and this and that. And then about 3.5 years later, I found him doing some financial impropriety. Caught him twice. And my name was on the door. It was called the Morris Frey Agency in Wichita, Kansas. And he was 20 years older than me. He was the head of corporate communications for Cessna Aircraft. And my choice was either I destroy him or I destroy my name. If I take the company across the street, then it looks like young buck dirtied the old guy. And if I don't leave, then I have to destroy him. And I was not going to do that. So nonetheless, I mean, it's been kind of this really crazy world, but I've run 4 companies. I've done 2 turnarounds, been in industries I didn't know jack squat about, but I was brought in, and in a couple of those cases, I was like, I don't know anything about your industry, and then it doesn't matter. And so
The
what I
principle.
found, and I've also been in 2 Fortune 100 companies in MacGyver kind of roles. My last one was a MacGyver role. That's how they described it. So that's why I kind of have it, because I'm pretty good with duct tape. But
MacGyver role. That is so interesting.
yeah, that was really, really cool. And that's a story in and of itself. But I eventually basically became the guy that ran the business marketing side for the business side of Bank of America, which was a very interesting role because that wasn't the MacGyver role. The MacGyver role was, they had done the largest bank acquisition in history at that time in the Midwest, and things were out of line, and they thought it was a communication issue. And since I had turned around marketing companies, they thought, and I was from the Midwest, from Wichita, Kansas area originally, they thought, you're the guy. And I had a reputation for building bridges and solving problems. And so that was kind of a cool thing. And we were able to do that, not by ourselves, but I just had to ask a lot of questions, like what you said at the beginning of this thing, good questions lead to good answers.
Yeah.
Usually. So anyway, what I found is along that road, it's very lonely running a company. And it's also lonely just being a full-time coach. So I still coach as part of BGW. I think we're the only CPA firm that I know of that actually coaches management teams and helping them scale and grow. And then I also run business development.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal. And here's why I get so passionate about it. I've had great bosses and great CEOs that I worked under. I've had abysmal ones as well, terrible. And in either case, the leadership sets the tone, and it has this ripple effect into our families, into our personal lives, into our communities. And so I'm very passionate about, if you can get that leadership team and that CEO, and it really starts with, if the CEO is not teachable, forget about it. Right. But if they are teachable and they're humble enough, but they're just kind of stuck, if you get that management team really humming and with the right people doing the right things and in their thrive zones, I call them the thrive zones versus their wither zones, watch out. I mean, really watch out. And it has this ripple effect in our families and in our communities. And that's why I'm super passionate about it.
It's super important. What would you, Gary? What would you say is the number one? Obviously, there's many problems, but let's think about parallel and what's maybe the most common issue, the hump that people need to get over that you notice.
The number one issue in every company, I think, is communication. Think about it. I mean, between husbands and wives, you put just two people in an organization called a marriage, or, that's the number one issue. And then it gets complex when you have other people, more people in a company, and, communicating clearly and effectively back and forth. That's the number one issue. And then for high growth companies, the number two issue is cash flow.
Communication and cash flow, the two C's, ladies and gentlemen. If you think about it, it's so true. Oh my goodness, so true. Communication is, if you don't have it, number one, the more people get involved with it, the worse it gets.
It's really true, and that dovetails into that communication thing. The right people in the right seats is really critical. And a lot of times you have people that are not in the right seats, either because the company's outgrown them or they've just gotten in a place where, as a company grows, let's say you start it by yourself, right, Rob? And you've been there, I've been there, where you have to wear all these hats because there's nobody else to do it. Well, then as you grow, you have to determine which hats you're going to wear and which hats you need somebody else to wear. And I think what really drives that should be what makes you come alive, what I call your thrive zone, versus what makes you wither. And a lot of times what happens within leadership teams and high growth companies, I do this pretty much on an annual basis. It's a really simple exercise. Any of your, viewers or listeners can do this. Do a simple T chart, split the page in middle, draw a line and then a horizontal line. And on the left side, write thrive. And on the right side, write wither, and start 30 minutes. This is all you need. Get quiet, turn off all the devices and just go, what makes me come alive? The kind of stuff, whether it be the kind of tasks, the kind of environment, the kind of variety or lack thereof, all those things that make me come alive. And then write down on the right side, the wither, what makes me wither? The stuff that you may be really good at. You may be the best person at pivot tables in your company, but you just get sick of it. You don't like doing it. Just because you're good doesn't mean it makes you come alive.
Good point. Very good point.
Identify all those things and then start looking like, okay, what can I do to strip some of those things off of my wither column? There may not be an immediate answer, but you've got to start addressing that. I call it like dry docking a boat. When you bring it up and you wonder why it's been going slower this year than last summer, probably has barnacles on the hull. You dry dock it, and then all of a sudden you see the barnacles. You got to scrape them off, and then you're smooth again. That's exactly what happens with management teams. And so it's just, I call it kind of horse trading responsibilities within the team based on their thrive wither. So anyway,
I like that system.
It's really simple, and I just did it on myself. I didn't find it, but I did it on myself in 1993 when I discovered my partner's financial impropriety. So I'm like, man, what am I going to do? I got to leave Wichita, Kansas. And I wrote even stuff like I wanted a place that was a good place for me to raise my young children and my wife to be with her. And my mentor was in New York, and he split time between there and Minneapolis. Neither one of those were going to be good options for our family for a number of reasons. And so I wrote, and I'd never been to Charlotte, North Carolina, ever. I'd never been in North Carolina. I wanted a place that was closer to the ocean, had some proximity to mountains, and had more trees, because in Kansas, we had none of those. So, and I wanted a pretty place if possible. And that wasn't too terribly far from family. We had family in Nashville. So anyway, and I'd never been here, but then I get an offer to come out here and take equity in another company. And so anyway, it's just a super simple thing, but I think it's really powerful. And if you get that leadership team, especially starting with the CEO and down, it's not because they're more important. It's just because if you get them to where they are in their happy zones, you have a much better chance of having it ripple throughout the organization.
Oh, goodness gracious. Gary, you couldn't say that any better. Daryl says Gary is fitness goals for guys with gray hairs. Okay, man. he certainly is. He's fitness goals for guys with no hair or some hair or hair everywhere. I'm talking a lot. He's setting off everybody, man. That is good.
Come and join me for Murph Mondays every Monday. I do a Murph with a 20-pound vest, so come join me.
Well, you seriously? Are you seriously doing something every Monday?
Yeah, every Monday I do a Murph, which you know what that is?
No,
Rob?
I don't.
So it's in honor. They do it it's a CrossFit thing, but they do it every year over Memorial Day weekend to honor a guy whose last name was Murphy, and he was killed in Afghanistan. And it was one of his favorite workouts. So it's a mile run. So you're wearing a 20-pound vest, a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and another mile run for time. It's brutal. So I do one every Monday. It's called Murph Mondays.
You are the king, man. Gary. Oh, that's good. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Come back. I want to ask my favorite question that I ask all my guests, man. This is my favorite question because I always get a wonderful answer. And then we'll get a couple more questions for you, Gary, and then see if we have any questions for folks out there. So if you got any questions, let us know.
Hit me up.
Simply automate. Automation made simple. Simply automate. Simply automate. Automation made simple. Simply automate. Simple.
Yeah, so that's actually we got two, and so we're gonna have a vote on them to see which one. The next one, my wife is singing with me. That's probably gonna be better. I should have had
I
her
like
sing
that one. That's good.
I like it, but you know what? Every time I do a song, I'm like, I like it, but then my wife gets on it. I'm like, oh, it's always better. It's always better. So anyway, Gary Frey, who cannot lie, telling you, man, I look in the sky, and I'm just thankful.
Right on.
So my favorite question to ask our guest, man, is if God came to you, he said, Gary, you've been doing great. I trust you right now. There's not a whole lot of folks I trust here, but I trust you with this one thing. I'm going to give you this one wish. You get to do anything you want. You get one. Just one, whatever you want, whatever you desire. What would it be?
Well, I'd have to answer that it comes back to what my core purpose is. And it is to make a positive difference in the lives of others. And that can take all kinds of forms and fashions. And quite frankly, my first thing is I want to know him and I want to make him known. But I've been burned so badly by people that say that I just say, to the tune of about $1 million. And so I say the evidence has to be, did I leave any place better than where I found it? And it has to be the key litmus test for me is, would my wife and children, and then hopefully my grandchildren, and I've got 4 of them, but would my wife and children say, you made a positive difference in our lives? That's it.
That is big. That's big. That's the influence we desire, we want, and that's the most impact we can make right there in our home, right there. That's good stuff. Yeah. That's good stuff, man. Good answer. Good answer.
Thank you.
So I want to know, how, because I'm looking at your highlights, right? And so,
yeah,
I love the way they're 1 through 8. It's like, this is really clear. Maybe you could tell me how you did some of these things. How'd you become the second highest sales leader in a private equity firm, averaging 30% increase year over year? Like, so how did you do that? Like, I got an idea, but how did you become the second highest sales leader? Like, how did you increase your sales? Because some people watching the show, whatever you say right now, they can somehow synthesize into their own life.
Well, what's interesting about that is, I was in a private equity firm. And I had voted with my money, and I was actually in that when I had some money. And I was on the board early on. This is in like 2005. I'd come in 04. It was kind of a by invitation group, and it was 300 ultra high net worth families. And I was not one of the ultra high. I was in the high net worth category at the time. Lost everything in 09. But before that happened, I was brought in. And I had a lot of roles in that company, and selling was about 1/4 of my responsibility. I was kind of the pledge master. It was a $250,000 minimum to come into this group, and we co-invested to help companies grow. Mm-hmm. Well, I loved connecting really good people. And when you're dealing with very, very high net worth people that own pro sports teams and that had been CEO of very large, Fortune 10 companies or whatever, that's a very select group of people, not because they're better than, but they're targets of everybody. Everybody's trying to get in their pockets. And so you have to closely guard that group of people. And because of that, and I have a pretty amazing Rolodex, but people would say, you need to monetize that. And I'm like, I will never monetize that because that's, people are not pawns. They are not poker chips.
Yeah.
And so I think because, and the highest salesperson was a full-time person that ran our broker dealer. So I had my securities licenses and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was because, one, I had my own stuff, my own money in this stuff. But two, because I genuinely cared about the people. And it's a long-term relationship build. But once you prove to be trustworthy, and that you're going to do the right thing for somebody versus sell them something and then be gone. I think that was the biggest reason. And that's still my approach today.
Yeah, I knew that. I could have assumed that that's how you did that. When I said that, I mean increasing the sales. And, when you operate as a human, other humans like that, they tend to like that. Especially when the majority of the communication is not that way. People have an agenda. It's clear.
Yeah.
They have a goal.
Yeah.
So I love that approach. And I love that you're teaching CEOs. First of all, I love that you have the reach that you have to get to those Fortune 10s and those minds. You're right. They're just like us, but they have a certain different kind of influence. And if you can influence those who have this special influence, then I believe that's when that influence that we want to really spread begins to spread.
Yeah. And to be clear, our sweet spot, yes, I've worked with Yokohama CEO and their management team, the Japanese as well as the Americans. And it was really because of the top American in that company named Jim McMaster, who's still around in Georgia now. But it was because of him. He made that introduction. He saw the need and he said, I need to make this introduction. But we focus on privately held companies and, the publicly traded ones. Yes, I have worked with some of those guys, but that's not our target. Our target are these individuals because they're the ones that don't have platinum parachutes. They're the ones that risk their lives on the high wire every day because their money is on the signatory line for, they're personally guaranteeing this stuff. That's my passion zone. Not to mean that Fortune 500 CEOs don't matter. They do, right. But they have things that the rest of us don't. We don't have safety nets. They've got platinum parachutes. And so, God bless them. They're smarter than I was, but that's our passion. So hopefully
that's good stuff. It helps a lot, and it helps a lot. And I think your methodology, the psychology, and your perspective is being adopted. And this is a thing now. It's really a thing. I love it. I love it. Tell me this. What is what's your plan? The next goal. I know there's a goal here.
It's funny. Goal? It's funny because I work with CEOs and I've done 16 of my 20 videos that we're going to put in our thing called the Vault for our clients that they have free access to, and we're going to launch it in October. And then anybody that's not a client, they can pay to have access. But it's like each one of these modules, and it's 5 to 7 minute video, but I give them the exact tools that they can self-implement, which is really cool. But one of those things is the BHAG, which Jim Collins and Good to Great kind of launched, was the big, hairy, audacious goal. And that's kind of like a 10-year target, right? I used to be extremely, really focused on that for me personally. And I take management teams through that. Having been ground down to baseline more than once, at this point, my BHAG, I don't really have one personally, and maybe I'm not eating my own dog food at this point, but like you said it early on, gratitude, right? I want to keep doing the right things every day, and I start with my gratitude journal. And my BHAG is still, it's not really a BHAG. and maybe I've shied away from that a little bit because early in my career, I kind of ran over some people because I was so singularly focused on the goal that I missed the point. I missed the point. And
That's good, Gary. That's
I
a
ran
really good
over
one.
people, and so I'm not going to do that anymore. My goal, I want to finish strong, and I want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. That's what I want to hear. That's my goal. And so the route that it takes is not that important anymore to me.
Ah, man, you got that wisdom. You got to sit and just let it ponder. Just ponder for a second. Sometimes you know, we're moving very quick because you're right. Setting goals is fantastic. It's awesome. It's wonderful. But there's a deeper side to it. Sometimes we can be so focused on the goal, we miss the journey. Somebody said, don't keep your eye on the prize, keep your eye on the path. I heard somebody say that. I think that was Bruce Lee. I think that was Bruce Lee. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it sounds like Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Man, that is so good. So,
well, it's funny.
Go.
The only thing that I would say is, for individuals, I think it's okay. I've had very clear goals, and I've also been extremely disappointed when life happened in spite of my goals. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you.
That's where the I planned and God laughed kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've been in places I would have never dreamed that I could have ever achieved individually in goals. I never in my wildest dreams. I've also experienced tragedy that I would not wish on my worst enemy. So that's why that's not as important. However, as I do know what my ultimate goal is, which is, well done, good and faithful servant. I want to be faithful in all those things. That is my goal. But as a company, it's important to have that 10-year target. And it's not a financial target. It's like, what gets me up and my management team up, and it grabs me by the belly button and pulls me and says, man, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And then you back it down to a 3-year target, which is what we call the 3-HAG, 3-year highly achievable goal, because that's only 12 quarters away.
Yeah.
And you've got to start planning on that. But it's important to have those things. And it's also important to be flexible.
Yeah.
Because how you get to that 10-year and whether you hit it or not isn't even the important thing. So a lot of times people far exceed it and others die trying. But it is important, like, what are you doing along the way? If you're just burning through your people along the way, is that really victory?
Right.
I don't think so.
Right. No, it isn't. and no shape, way, or form. Man, that's brilliant. And this philosophy and the concept idea is soon to be common practice. The more we keep preaching and practicing it, I love that you said you're playing and God laughed. It reminds me of this scripture. A man plans his course, but the Lord decides his steps. I was like, I just thought that was very interesting. I was like, see, make your plans, but ultimately, there's a certain thing you don't control that it's going to happen. So make your plans, but be flexible enough. That's how I interpreted it. Be flexible enough, not so rigid in your thinking that you're not able to move through what's happening.
Yeah. It's interesting. One of the most profound lessons that I learned from a guy that was probably 20 years younger than me. He was in his early 30s at the time. He and his brother had turned around and they had bought a family business from their mom and dad, and they increased it probably 800%. I mean, and they sold it for a lot of money. It was strong 8 figures. Okay. And before they had done that, I met with them, and they had their offices were kind of like mobile home with paneling, and I had no idea the wealth that they were about to receive. They had built this really cool company, and they're really smart. But he said to me, he holds out his hand. He said, my mom and dad have always taught us, we are to approach life with an open hand. And God can put anything that he wants, and he can take anything out. It's when we close the hand and try to say it's mine that we get in trouble. And that was one of the most, so it's one thing to say it, but then I saw him live it. He lost, of the $30 million worth of us that got blown up, he lost $5.5 million in it when our company blew up. And then he had gotten taken advantage of by another guy, and he had brought up some franchises, and he got taken for millions on that one too. This is a young guy, and he was on our 4-person board of managers. He was by far the youngest one. And he kept me alive when our company had no money. We could to go bankrupt was going to cost us $300,000. We had no money. The thing was just blowing up all around us, and he kept me alive. He paid my salary, which was greatly diminished, but it was still keeping me fed. And he was paying our attorney bills. He wrote the checks.
Oh man.
And he lost the most money. And a year later, we met over Thanksgiving for breakfast. We met kind of halfway, and he said, I've been thinking about it. And if I had the choice where if somebody said you can have all your money back, which was substantial, but you can't have the lessons learned or the relationships, or you can have the lessons learned in the relationships, but no money back. He said, it's not even a choice. I would take the latter and say, keep the money, which is exactly what ended up happening. He got no money back. Well, that says a lot. And it's because he had that. He didn't just talk that, he lived it. He lived it. Things came into his hand very freely. And yes, he worked his butt off to get that. But when they were taken out of his hand, he didn't scream and, why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
He's still one of the most grateful people I know.
Man, that gratitude, it's a powerful thing. It'll when it's raining, it'll make it feel like the sun is coming. When it feel like it's over, and gratitude will help give you an indicator that there's still some hope left. When you thought you didn't have any more time, gratitude somehow shows you the seconds on the clock are still ticking. It's something about it. It just opens the door. But like you just said it, when I pointed at you, my son, he was just walking through it. Just today, I was telling him about letting go and holding on to things. And I was showing him by holding this thing, nothing can get in. But when you surrender, it's a thing of allowing. Now you're allowing things to come in. And because you are letting go. But it's hard to let go.
It's so counterintuitive, but the thing that's amazing is it's the most freeing thing. It doesn't mean that you deny the current circumstances, dude. I mean, we have lived through some crazy and hard circumstances.
Yeah.
It doesn't deny that, but gratitude transcends it, where it's not head in the sand, blah, 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 I can't hear you. No, it's acknowledging that, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to find, even if it's the one thing I can find grateful for is I'm breathing in and exhaling every day. If that's it, or man, I see sunshine, which I'm really glad to see here because I did 13 winters in Cleveland, Ohio, which we did not see nearly as much sunshine as we see here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah. I'm grateful for those 13 winters of a lot of gray skies because they made me even more thankful for the sunshine.
I love that. Such great perspective. Gary, such great perspective. Tell me, what is the best way people to talk to you, connect with you, hang out with you, learn from you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn, man. I mean, that's how you and I met, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I was reading your stuff, admiring, your songs, your ability to create amazing content. And then you reached out, we set up a call and it was wonderful. Like of all the social media platforms, I mean, this is the one where I feel like I have genuine connection with people literally all over the world. And so,
so awesome, man.
Connect with me there. I've hit my maximum of the 30,000 connections, but send me a note, and that means that I'm going to have to kick somebody off, but I'll kick somebody off that I don't know. So
Yep. Clean house a little bit. Gary Frey,
thank you, Dimitri.
I'm glad that you have sun in your sky.
Uh-oh.
Well,
I'm not hearing you, buddy.
Can you hear me? You can't hear me? Oh, interesting. How about now?
Can you hear me?
No?
Can you hear me okay?
Now? No?
I don't know if it's on my side or on yours, buddy.
Let me see.
Well, I guess we're still here. So I can't rap for y'all. Sorry. But maybe Rob is going to come back.
Let's see.
There we go.
Am I back or what?
I just can't hear you.
Oh, so they can, okay, so they can hear us. Refresh your screen. Refresh. Refresh.
Let me see here.
I'm gonna text him refresh.
I wonder.
Refresh. I tell you, the internet's so interesting.
Can you hear me? Yes or no? You can hear me?
Mhm.
I can't hear you. That's weird. So maybe refresh. All right.
It's crazy. Oh man, I thought it was my headset. It wasn't. Let's see. So see if he comes back in. That was good. That was good, man. Hope Gary gets back in here. Just to close this out, nice. But as you can see, I mean, he's doing some pretty amazing things. I love his philosophy, his concepts. Even has programs built out. So if you're an entrepreneur, CEO, business owner, and looking to put your mind together, ideas together. Can you hear me, Gary?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I don't know what happened, so sorry about that. I don't know if it's StreamYard or if it's me.
No, it was definitely StreamYard because we were doing everything the exact same way. We didn't change. So all of a sudden it was just like soup. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And then you were gone. And I was like, well, I guess I'll be hosting the rest of your podcast.
So that's good, Gary. So we put your stuff down the bottom. What's your final words of empowerment?
Oh man. My final words of empowerment would be, if you want to be great, serve.
If you want to be great, serve. That is maybe the simplest, most powerful sentence you can come up with. Everyone's looking for greatness. Everybody wants to be great. They want to be this thing, and it's fine. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. But if you're just looking to be great, to have the spotlight shine on you, maybe not. But when you're looking to serve, genuinely, authentically, I also read that when you increase your impact, you increase your income. So that's the way it happens.
Yeah. I think there's something to that, but it's interesting because I learned the most from these really wealthy people, and it wasn't because they were wealthy. It was because they were humble and grateful.
Yep.
And many of them could never spend all the money that they had. Many of them had been taken advantage of beyond what you would imagine. And yet they were grateful, and they had this mentality of I'm going to keep learning and I'm going to keep serving. And they were some of the most generous, and I'm not talking about financially. They weren't stingy there either, but they mentored others. They weren't spending all their time on yacht or on, most of them didn't even own yachts. I mean, even the billionaires, a couple of them, you would never know. It seemed like the wealthier they were, the less you would even know it.
Wow.
But the common denominator was humility and a longing to serve other people.
That's wonderful. Humility and a longing to serve other people. Words to live by. Oh, there's Wilton. He said, it was early.
Wilton, how's the move? We miss you, man.
Talk about serving people. He that's another guy, man.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No. I was saying, talking about serving. That's another. No, that is Wilton. But I'll say that's another guy who does a lot of serving. Like this, like that's what kind of attracted me to him on LinkedIn like years ago. Just his heart, and so it's really good, Gary. You know, I believe that there's a lot of people like you out there, and even those who maybe are not performing or living the life that they can and could. I think they have the ability to, and through what you're doing is empowering that. So thank you for doing that.
Well, I again, I'm ashamed to say that early on in my career, especially, I was so focused on achieving my goals that I was oblivious to being the steamroller running over people. And I'm ashamed to say that. So, I wasn't out, doing drugs or womanizing or anything like that, but I still was hurting people that shouldn't have been hurt because I was so focused on my goal, and it was very me-centered. Crappy way to live.
Well, thank you. Thank you for waking up. Thank you for being on the show. And reach out to Gary. Reach out to him. Get some more insight. Listen, success leaves clues. It's our job to follow the trail.
Man, that's good.
Thank you,
Rob,
brother.
you are a gem. So thank you so much for having me on. I love what you're promoting too with your automation and being able to remove the mundane tasks so that you can elevate your people to doing what makes them come alive even more. So thank you for what you do. I think you're on the front edge. I mean, yeah, some of this has been out there for a while, but the adoption still is lagging. So I think you're doing something important.
Thank you, Gary. I really appreciate that. It means a lot, brother. Talk soon.
You guys have a wonderful day.
All right. Gary Frey, ladies and gentlemen. And so make sure you follow him. Like, again, success does leave clues. Oh, man, my battery is dying. Okay, I got 8% time here. Okay, so follow Gary. He talked about some things that he set up. I love structure and how you can follow things. So I'm going to get the links to that and find out and make sure. I'm going to put it in the comments because I want you to be able to go back, and it was something that he created that I think would be very helpful moving forward. Give you some framework for doing what you're doing. All right. So guess what? We had what I'm going to show you here. No, I'm not going to show you that. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to wait on that one. Because we got a special show coming up, a special guest. So I'm going to wait for that one. I am going to show this video, and this video here is our channel partner affiliate program, meaning that people, listen, there's a technology that is helping businesses win, helping people. Listen, when people cry because of the joy of them not having to do this hours and hours of behavior anymore, that's a big deal, okay? Big deal. Check this out.
The entire business economy was impacted by the pandemic. Trying to adjust to our new business culture and make the right choices can seem overwhelming. But the need to understand technology and automation today is a must if you want to stay competitive. Companies gain an immediate advantage over their competitors once they understand how to implement RPA into their current activities. Simply Automate has made it easy to gain this knowledge and to implement automation so you can have the time to focus on your business, adjustments, and its growth. This is where STA affiliates can impact their clients' businesses and fast. Simply share your clients' needs with us and we'll show you how RPA can create big wins for them in a very short period of time. According to Gartner, over 50% of all businesses will have some sort of RPA implementation by 2027. Don't you think you owe it to your clients to make sure they have this information? The training and support you get through our affiliate program will allow you to make a difference in your client's business while improving your RPA knowledge and receiving a nice residual along the way. Set up a 30-minute affiliate consultation to see how RPA can have an immediate impact on your client's business and your life. We have the blueprint. Join our team.
Okay, there you go. And let me just clarify. For some reason, for some frozen now. We got all kind of technical things happening. The technical tornadoes are out, ladies and gentlemen. Dorothy, where are you? Where are you, Dorothy? I think I just see Toto fly through the screen. Wait a minute, let me get this. Let me get this set up here. All right. Oh man. Okay. Microphone check 1 2. There we go. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? It's not like you can really answer me either. I have no one to talk to. All right, so listen. Oh, thank you, Gary. I can see you down there, Gary. Thank you. Thank you. So closing up. Number one, so we used to be Scaled Through Automation and we changed our name to Simply Automate. Woohoo! Automation Made Simple. And I just noticed that they were in that video was the name, our name was still in there. We got to get that video out of there. Okay, so we are Simply Automate. And we got to go through all these videos and take stuff out. And it's so much to do. So we're doing a whole rebranding thing. But anyway, if you're interested, the link is there. And this is who this is for. You're a business consultant. You're someone who knows people who have businesses, or you just understand that this technology will help people win. Simply introduce them to us through a conversation and a link. They'll get a questionnaire. Based off the questionnaire, they'll fill out the fields, which allows us to then build out a diagram that shows them how we can automate whatever needs to be automated for them, showing them the ROI and all the savings that will happen. That's it. Pretty simple. Conversation and a link. Conversation and a link. So it's there. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm excited about where we're going. Humanity, that is. I'm really excited about it. And meeting people like Gary just kind of confirms that we're going in the right direction. And so I want to empower and encourage you to go out and meet people. Go out and meet people. Just go out. I know my face. My face is frozen. But Gary, can you still hear my words? Okay, cool. It's like I'm the frozen talking man right now. Okay, cool. So I want you to go out, and I want you to deliberately meet and encourage people. Okay, go out and meet and encourage people. That's it. I mean, there's a lot more to do, but do that. Your network is your network. And I really believe your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. And I really believe you get out and you meet people and you encourage people, the more you'll grow. And the more you grow, the more you'll know. I'm not trying to rhyme. It just keeps happening. I don't know why it happens like this. It just happens. Okay. But I hope that you hear me. Hope you enjoyed the show. We love sharing wisdom nuggets and sharing our wonderful leaders and people who have these wonderful expertise with the community. So hope that it was fruitful for you. I got 2% left, which means I don't know how much time I have, but take advantage of LinkedIn. Take advantage of being able to connect with amazing people. Don't just look at the information. Take action with it. Take action with it, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, love yourself and love others.
Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that keeps you in the know with what you need to know in business and technology and for yourself so you can grow. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Rob Howes, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers, got insight for miles.
Miles and miles.
We'll give you what you need to know.
Get ready for
The Business Empowerment Podcast.